that you have found me. Were you looking too hard, I imagine? No, but of course not. Well, you have found me now, dear. As I, the prophet Lyra, I am happy to see you, however. Was wondering where my beloved Aquileia had been off to. Yes, I believe you have a message for me. The hawthorn tree, of course. Yes, we used to meet there quite frequently. In fact, we were married under that tree. It was a long, long time ago. Before really marriage had the same sort of strings that it does nowadays. It's funny how that works out, isn't it? At least back then. Didn't mind so much when there wasn't many people around. Now, my dear, you look a bit distraught. Is there anything I can do for you? Do you mind? Just like to touch a little bit, if that's okay. Just close your eyes. Right there. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, you are harboring on something that really has no bearing. I know what the sorceress Lucidia has done, but don't fret. She is not the smartest sorceress I've met, although she is incredibly old, older than myself. She still hasn't quite learned how to hone her practice of necromancy. And she used somebody who was under the protection of another sorceress. Not very smart of her. Alas, it seems, although my beloved and I have returned to our mortal coils, it won't be for long. After All Hallows Eve has come to a close, I and her will return to our own realms. Yes, I wouldn't worry so much of it. Do you mind if I see your arm? Yes, I imagine that's where she cut you, yes. Let me just rub that a bit. Well, it won't heal immediately, however, you should see that fade in a day or so. I don't imagine there would be any scars. No, if I had access to what I used to, as the local potions maker, diviner, the whole gambit, perhaps I may have been able to do a little something different. However, I'll do the best that I can. Now, I know that Aquileia had some reservations of you. However, it seems that the witch Saoirse did not so much. If you don't mind, I'd like to find for myself what kind of character you hold. Now, I've been practicing many different types of divination for a very long time. One of them being a very seldom used, almost forgotten sort of divination called oculomancy, rather. So ancient I don't even remember how to say it. There's so many different types. Oculomancy doesn't have the ring to it like chiromancy or tasseography or scrying does, but nevertheless, it seems that there are some modalities, one being iridology, that still persist into the present day. Oculomancy, not so much. However, the practice of oculomancy does tend to get blurred a bit, as one definition may be that you are divining the beholder of the eyes you are looking into, of their fate, of their future. However, on the other hand, it may be that you are divining the personalities and traits thereof of the person, and perhaps what their destiny may or may not hold. Now, I have studied both. I don't tend to perform the former, and rather go for the latter instead, as there are many more, well, to be honest, easier ways of divining rather than the eyes and the reflections in the eyes. But dealing with the characteristics, however, is a different story. Now, my love has given you a palm reading, is that correct? Yes, she is quite the skilled chiromancer. Absolutely brilliant woman. But I, however, can look into your eyes and see what sort of person you are. As it is said, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Now, if you don't mind, I'd love to take a look into yours and see what they hold. Of course, if you don't mind, while this is a very beautiful earring, I don't want it to distract you too much. So I'd just like to pull that out for the moment. You can always set that back in. Alright, my dear. I don't want you to be alarmed. I don't want you to be guarded. I just want you to sit. I want you to breathe in very deeply and breathe out. Excellent. Yes. Breathe in and breathe out. Beautiful. Should make you just a touch drowsy. I find that helps the most. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to just get a touch closer. Now, I'm going to perhaps be touching you just a little, if you don't mind. Okay. I promise to be gentle. I promise not to harm you in any way. It's not the way to get any information. Not any good information, that is. I have been known to use some creative ways of getting what I need, however. if there was one to cross me. But alas, I digress. Now, what I'm going to do is look into your eyes and tell you little bits and pieces that I gather from them. Right? Do you understand? Okay. Do you give me permission to look into your eyes and to see what they hold? Perfect. Yes, that works wonders for me. I'd just like to begin by looking just straight into your eyes. Now, my particular practice of oculomancy combines the traditional sorts with a bit of face reading principles from China, of course. Very ancient art there as well. You do have somewhat small eyes, and those with small eyes tend to be honest, but tend to have a short fuse and can be quite brash, perhaps. Reckless is a better word, reckless. Those with large eyes tend to be more of the sincere variety, with much loyalty and incredible intelligence. But your eyes are also somewhat close together, which denotes a very high sense of intelligence as well. Now, depending on the color of the eyes, there are many different characteristics that one can have. For example, those with gray eyes tend to be sensible, practical, have ironclad morals. Those with hazel eyes tend to be quite intelligent, perhaps ambitious, but very friendly. Seems that your eyes have somewhat of a hazily cast. Little bits of coppery gold, brown, green, blue, all just a mixture. Quite gorgeous it is. Those with green eyes can be egotistical, rash, but fiery with passion. Incredibly so. They harbor a lot of passion. Those with blue eyes can be blunt, but gentle. They can be loyal and humble, and quite the forgiving type. Lovely people those with blue eyes are, and luckily that's a very large population. Those with brown eyes are consistent people, quite honest, but perhaps a touch nervous, maybe fidgety, perhaps. And those with eyes that are quite dark, one could construe as black, are devoted people, but quite flamboyant, however, extremely passionate as well. Extravagant, but very passionate. Now tell me, my dear, do you find that either one of your eyes itch at all? Okay. Your right eye? Your right eye twitching means that you have quite humorous circumstances to come with quite a few laughs along the way. However, a left eye twitch may point to impending sorrows. But it's not necessarily the case. It's one of those sort of old wives' tales, such as if someone is talking about you, your ears may burn. Take it with a grain of salt. Now I'd like to look at the actual shape of your eyes. Okay. Mostly the corners of your eyes, how your eyes sit, your eyelids. So, it seems that you have eye corners that turn upwards, which is a good indicator of honesty. However, those with downward faced corners, downward turning, it's a sign of good fortune. Those with rounded corners of the eyes, as you have a sense of kindness, and those with quite sharp edges are quite versatile people, quite adaptable. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get just a bit closer. I'd like to look at your eyelids themselves. So, the top eyelid is rated as a thick or a thin eyelid. A thick eyelid would mean you are a very personal, intimate person with a love of very close relationships, while those with a thinner eyelid tend to be more detached. Perhaps from a lack of trust in other people. You do tend to have thin upper eyelids. So perhaps the trust factor is not very high with you. Might be defensive, even. Now at the bottom, this has to do with a bit of your honesty, but also a bit of how open you are. So, your bottom eyelid is quite thin as well, so you do tend to be a defensive person. Maybe not so open. Now, as for the last characteristic, you do tend to have protruding eyes, which means you are ambitious and dominant. Say, just to keep your ego in check, of course. Stay humble. Those with very deep-set eyes are more laid back. Now, that wasn't too terribly painful, was it? No, I hope not. I think from what your eyes are giving me, I feel that Akalea and I may be able to trust you. However, I think over the coming times we will see if that is true or not. I have faith in you, dear. Just make sure to stay in my good graces, and I don't think we'll have a problem at all. Seems that I have a very attractive date to get to, so I can assure you that I will find my way back. Although if you don't mind just pointing me in the right direction. Okay, alright that way, perfect. I do get mixed up a time or two. I suppose Akalea may be right that I tend to get lost. There's just so many other things going on. I never stop to consider where I am. It was a pleasure to meet you, my dear. I hope to see you again quite soon, although hopefully this time I'll stay dead and not come back. This is quite unpleasant. It's been a very long time since I've had to deal with all of this. So, I hope to see you soon. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I think there's something very special in store for you as you meet the